because it was such an important piece of what we were going to do at Coosa Valley. And while we had some brick and mortar and the building was going to look beautiful, it was so important to us that we brought in, new imaging equipment, because we want to be the best. We want to be updated. We want all the bells and whistles, because guess what? We want you to choose Coosa Valley. We want you to choose your hospital when you need that MRI, or when you need that mammogram, or when you need that nuclear medicine scan. We want you to choose us because we're going to take great care of you. Today we have the experts here to talk to you. Somebody said, do we have physicians here today? Like, no, but we got experts. And they're going to come and talk to you about imaging, what we have in Coosa Valley, what it really is. What is that doctor looking for when he runs that scan or does that MRI? Or what does that mammogram really mean? So today, Jeremy Herring, who's the director of our imaging services, is going to come, and he's going to talk to you a little bit about himself, but more about how imaging affects you. And then we're going to have Rob and Angelo, who's been on our team for quite some time, is going to come close it out and talk about our MRI. I don't know how many of you have had an MRI at Coosa Valley, but I will say this. They make sure you're comfortable. They make sure you're taken care of. They make sure you know what's going on. I can't imagine going anywhere else to have an MRI. In fact, I can't even imagine I could do it anywhere else because they make you feel so at home and so taken care of. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jeremy, and he's going to get us kicked off. And again, I'm glad you're here today, and let's enjoy and learn together. Jeremy.
Good morning, or afternoon, good day. I trust everyone here helped pull the Georgia Bulldogs through this weekend? No? Well, we appreciate it anyway. Like Vanessa said, we want to talk a little bit today about imaging and why it's important to get an early image. A lot of times you may go in and be seeing your doctor for your knee or something, and next thing you know, you're having some pictures of that along with something else. And it doesn't always make sense to us initially, but screening is a big thing. And the earlier that we can detect a lot of different situations, which we'll go into some of those today, the better off you're going to be, the better off we can treat those, and it's just a good situation. So as Vanessa said, my name's Jeremy Herring. I'm the Director of Imaging and Cardiovascular Services here at Coosa Valley. I was raised on a chicken farm over in Bowden, Georgia, and moved to Sylacauga back last November. So we're right at 1 year. Got my bachelor's degree in radiologic science from Armstrong Atlantic University down in Savannah, Georgia, and my master's in healthcare administration through Grand Canyon University. I'm a registered cardiovascular invasive specialist, so my clinical history has all been in the cardiology side of things, in the cath lab. I'm also Green Belt certified with Lean Six Sigma. How many people here have had a study at Coosa Valley before? X-ray, mammogram, MRI, anything? Wonderful. Well, we hope that you had a good experience. We appreciate you coming to us for that, and hope that we will see you going forward for any additional imaging needs. One thing that we pride ourselves on at Coosa Valley is being a community hospital. Contrary to an experience that you may have in a bigger city or larger facility somewhere, oftentimes when you walk down the hallways at Coosa Valley, you'll see neighbors, friends, people you go to church with, family members, and that's something that really means a lot to us. And so we really take pride in having that small town atmosphere and providing high quality care at the same time. It makes the days special to us as employees, and we hope that it does the same to patients, to be able to see that familiar face and be welcomed in your own community. And so we want to make sure also that you're aware of all the things that you can have done right here in your community. I don't know, maybe some of y'all in here are big fans of sitting in traffic, like long drives and a lot of traffic. Nah, well, that's why we want to talk about what you don't have to go to Birmingham for. We offer ultrasound, x-rays, we do PETs and CTs, mammograms, special procedures, which encompasses several different things. We can do what they call arthrograms, and it lets the radiologist look at different joints. Cath lab, where we can look at your heart or arteries throughout your legs. Stress test, nuclear medicine. We have a new ABI machine that we've gotten. We've started doing these new lung cancer screenings. We have MRI, and Robin and those guys run an excellent program over there. You'll hear more about that in a few minutes as well. So, nuclear medicine. That's a title that can be a little almost intimidating just with it at its name. So, what is it? Some of the most common things that studies that will be done in there that your doctor will order will be HIDA scans, check for your gallbladder. Stress testing is done in nuclear medicine, one type can be. Bone scans, if that can be associated with cancer or if you have something going on with your bones where there's maybe abnormal growth. VQ scans will be looking for blood clots in your lungs, and gastric emptying if you're having issues with your stomach. And in nuclear medicine, what we do is we inject small amounts of radiopharmaceuticals, and then the camera is specialized, and it allows us to see how the organs in your body are taking those in. So the difference with it and some of the other modalities is with a CT, with an X-ray, a mammogram, a lot of these are pictures, and so you're looking at what the body is. In nuclear medicine, we're really looking a lot more at how the body works. And so if you're having a problem with a specific organ, then there's specialized studies that can be performed, and we're able to monitor the function of that organ. Why would your physician order it? There's several different symptoms that could lead to a nuclear study. Some of those could be shortness of breath, chest pain, stomach pain. Your physician would consider all the other things that are contributing and then determine which test would be best for you. An ultrasound. We don't use any radiation in ultrasound. It uses high-frequency sound waves and then produces a picture for us where we're able to get a better look at what's going on. The doctors a lot of times will use this either on its own as an individual study, and they'll also use it sometimes in conjunction to help them with biopsies. If they're draining a cyst, any type of fluid draining, then they can use the ultrasound to help them see where they're going. Because we certainly want them to be able to see where they're going. Common test. Venous and arterial Dopplers, we do a lot of those. That helps identify if there's blood clots, and that can be done essentially anywhere, arms, legs. It's a very valuable tool. Echoes, so we take an ultrasound of your heart, and that'll allow the cardiologist to see how your heart's functioning as a whole. It lets us watch it as it squeezes to see if your heart function is good. It lets us see the different valves within your heart, and we can even look at some pressures that way as well. Breast studies, if there's something that is found on a mammogram that may be an area of a concern, then ultrasound is one way where the doctor can get additional views of that specific area and get some more information to better figure out what's going on. Our sonographers here at Coosa Valley are certified through the American Registry for Diagnostic Medical Sonography. And we have subspecialties in OBGYN, vascular, and abdomen. And we have 2 that are currently pursuing their cardiac specialties right now as well. In the cardiac cath lab, here's a couple examples of, on this side we have the heart, and on this side we have the legs. And both of these cases were done here at Coosa Valley in recent history. And in this picture to the far left, you can see, I don't know if you can tell, right here about halfway down, you see how that just comes down and it's real smooth all the way, and then right here it looks like a bite was taken out of it. That's a blockage. And so this is someone that could come in either with a wound on their foot that wasn't healing well, leg pain when they walk, and it can be subtle pains too. One thing we'll hear a lot is, I used to go get the mail every day, and now I have to stop and take a break when I get halfway there. It doesn't always present itself as a huge issue to begin with. And so what we did was we went in here at Coosa Valley, and we used a balloon that has medication on it and inflated that open, and you can see it's right across from that last screw there, and now Afterwards, it's real smooth all the way down. So we opened that blockage up, got better blood flow to the feet, and the patient's doing very well. These two pictures are of a heart. This is the left side of your heart here and the right side of your heart there. And we do have a cath lab here at Coosa Valley. So the way that would typically go a lot of times is a patient may come in having chest pain, having shortness of breath. Say your doctor orders a stress test. Well, we can do your stress test at Coosa Valley, and then hopefully that comes back normal and everything is good to go. If not, if there's something abnormal on your stress test that indicates to your doctor, hey, we need to get some more information, we also have a cath lab. So we can go in there and take the pictures, and again, hopefully those pictures show us that everything is fine, but if not, then we have some wonderful physicians that work with us, and we'll get you taken care of. But you can come in, have your stress test. If that's not good, then have your heart cath, and all of that without ever having to leave Sylacauga. And the guys that perform it here for us are some of the best that I've ever worked with. We're really, really fortunate to have a great group of guys. We do PET scans as well. We have a PET truck that comes once a week. And PET is a little different from CT, so it kind of mixes your CT with your nuclear medicine. So what we do is you would come in, and we eject a radioisotope. And this is used a lot of times for patients with cancer or a history of cancer. If you are someone who has had cancer in the past, and your doctor may, going forward, order PET scans to see if that cancer is coming back. If you're someone who currently has cancer and have a procedure or treatments scheduled, then what they may do is get a baseline PET so that they can see, okay, where are we now? Perform the surgery or the treatment regimen, and then get another PET to see how much improvement we got, how much did it help. And this is something that allows them to tell that. You do have to wait a little bit with it, because once you come in, you get the isotopes that show up on the camera, and then we have to wait 45 minutes. So that's just to give your body time to circulate those isotopes so that we get accurate pictures and good information once we cut the camera on. We mentioned briefly earlier our lung cancer screening program. This is something that Medicare and Medicaid passed in 2016, and it is covered. And the big push with this is lung cancer is one of these things that if we wait until we're symptomatic to find it, a lot of times we've waited too long. We don't want it to get so bad that we're experiencing symptoms before we pick up on it. So the sooner we can find it, the better off. That's why it was important that Medicare and Medicaid passed this. So now it's a low-dose CT. It's very quick. If you are 55 to 77, you qualify. There's 4 criteria for them to cover it. 55 to 77, you either have to be a current smoker or quit within the past 15 years, and a 30-pack year history. So a pack year would be 1 pack a day. So if you smoked a pack a day for 30 years, there you are, or 2 packs a day for 15, so on and so forth. And we've had already several success stories with this where people came in, they qualified, no symptoms at all. We did the low-dose CT, identified an area of interest, and then they were able to move forward in getting the additional information they needed, where otherwise they never would have known that that area of interest was there. This is an annual screen similar to a mammogram, and so they'll cover it once a year, come in. We're very glad to be offering this now. Our mammography, we have a private mammography suite, so it is, if anyone is unfamiliar with the way our department is set up, it's off in the back corner. It's a lot of privacy with it. We try to maintain that and limit the traffic in and out of there. We're accredited in our mammography program by the FDA and the Alabama Department of Public Health as well. You can get annual mammograms come through, and our techs send out personalized follow-up letters following each mammogram as well. And so you get the results, you get a letter that's sent out to you, and then they let you know if you need to come make your appointment for next year on an annual basis, or if there's something that you need to do to follow up sooner. Our mammographers are registered through the American Registry of Radiologic Technologists. They're very good at what they do, excellent mammographers. And with that, I will turn it over to Robin, and she will give you some more information on our MRI program.
Very good. Thank you, Jeremy. Okay, good. I think everybody can hear me. Good morning. I'll say what Jeremy said, good day, good afternoon. It's good to see everybody. I spoke in Community Links back in 2011 and 2016, and I'm seeing some familiar faces. So it's good to be back up here sharing some really good information with you. I am the Director of Operations for our joint venture MRI program. And as you can see, I went to the University of North Alabama, go Lions, great education there. I came home to Childersburg and worked at a Fortune 500 company, what we know as Kimberly-Clark, and absolutely loved the area that I was working in medical wellness, and then became well, I actually got into radiology probably about 12 years later, and been in radiology for about 12, 13 years, and I can't seem to get out of radiology because I love it. I'm still in healthcare. I'm still in the business of helping people and educating people so that they can live quality lives, and that's right down my alley. Let's go to the next slide here. You know, when I think about the title of this program, An Early Image Can Save Lives, I went straight to one of our cover stories on our website, CoosaValleyMRI.com, and I wanted to share a quick excerpt from that story. This is Glenn Stubblefield, and he has certainly given us permission to share his story because he wants to help others in this venue. Imagine overhearing a surgeon saying, if he wasn't here now, he wouldn't have made it 2 weeks. That's what Glenn heard as he was about to undergo brain surgery for 2 aneurysms detected by an MRI just 8 days earlier. They predicted he would lose his sight in his left eye because of the aneurysm that was pushing on his optic nerve. Hours later, he awoke from surgery to the sound of his son's athletic pants swishing back and forth as he came down the hallway. Dawson approached his bed, and Glenn opened one eye, the eye they said he might lose, by the way, and he saw his son. It was the most peaceful I've ever been in my life. I knew everything was okay the moment I woke up, he said. What a blessing, what a great story. This is a great example of people seeking early diagnostic imaging to prevent a catastrophic, life-threatening incident. And I thought this was a great way to start our segment on MRI. So another word for MRI is magnetic resonance imaging. What is it? Well, 1, it's non-invasive. 2, it's radiation-free. 3, it uses a strong magnetic field to look deep within your body to help us determine normal tissue versus pathological tissue. In some cases, depending on what your diagnosis is, your physician may order a gadolinium contrast. And what that contrast does is actually light up the area of interest so that we can really see that much better and provide a higher quality report. Let's look at some examples of some diseased tissue. This is an example of a brain MRI, and if you can see the arrow there, it is pointing out an illuminated or light color area, and that's where the blood flow has actually stopped in these areas of the brain because this person has suffered a stroke. This is a great example of a tumor in the brain. It's about 20 millimeters in size, and the neat thing about our MRI machine is that we can see as small as a 1 millimeter, which is the thickness of a dime. So we can get that tiny when we're looking at small structures, which is pretty phenomenal. Another example, and we see, by the way, we see a lot of brains and we see a lot of spines at Coosa Valley MRI. A lot of wear and tear in these areas. So on the left side, you'll see that this is a normal looking spine, the spinal canal with nerve roots and normal disc. And if you look over to the right, you'll see that big herniation there. That disc has kind of moved out of the spinal column, and we'll see in just a minute some of those problems that it can cause. Here's another great picture of a herniation of the L4 and L5 vertebrae area. And remember, this is kind of a spongy-like substance that sits in between the vertebrae, the bony part of the spine, and it helps absorb shock as you walk and run. And it also provides that good soft cushion to protect bone against bone. So, how does it work? Unlike X-rays and CT, MRI, as we said earlier, uses a strong magnetic field. And folks, it is 30 to 60,000 times stronger than the Earth's magnetic field. It is strong enough to pick up a transfer truck. So what happens is when we place you on that MRI table, move you into the scanner bore, that magnet goes to work. The radio waves are produced, and the protons that are in our body, they will start to spin in a specific format and line up so that that image of your brain or your spine or your knee can be taken, and then it's put into a computer imaging system. And as the end result, we have your images, much like the ones that you just saw on the previous slides. So, why would my physician order it? You know, I'm not sure if, Jeremy, you mentioned this, but sometimes it's case specific, whether it's going to be an MRI or CT, X-ray. It depends on your diagnosis. It depends on your current situation. But here are some obvious reasons of why your physician would order an MRI. It's the test of choice looking at non-bony parts of the body or soft tissues, the brain, spinal cord, nerves, muscles, ligaments, tendons. All of these are really seen well on the MRI. And the other important thing to remember is that MRI is radiation free, and this is really, really good to know, especially if you needed more than one MRI. Why would my physician order it? So I kind of divided this into three categories, main categories, and I will tell you these are the top three areas that we see patients in. The brain. So detecting and diagnosing stenosis, tumors, neurovascular diseases such as stroke, hemorrhage, aneurysm, as you learned about in the first cover story that I read, cranial neuropathy, pituitary and hormonal imbalances, vertigo, those types, even multiple sclerosis. We can even look at the wellness of the brain and determine signs of dementia. So that might be a reason that your physician would order a brain MRI. The next category, cervical, thoracic, lumbar. We all know that our spine takes the brunt of our life, doesn't it? We don't see a lot in the mid-back, the thoracic, but we do see a lot in the cervical, which is your neck, and we also see it a lot in your lower back. So, how many of you have back pain in here? I do. It's reoccurring. It comes and it goes. So, you know, you go to the doctor and you're talking about back pain, more than likely he's going to order an MRI to determine what is actually going on in your body. Sciatica, pinched nerves, degenerative disc disease, sometimes cancerous tumors, sometimes abscesses on the spinal cord itself. The third and last category is upper and lower body joints. Folks, we see so many knees and so many shoulders, wrists and hips, and we typically see these in people that are very active, your athletes, young, or even your recreational athletes. We also see it in just the aging population, right? I'm certainly older than I was when I went to University of North Alabama, and I will tell you, I've got a few chronic shoulder issues, and I've got a little low back issue, and that just happens over a course of time. But it is important that you get to the bottom of what is causing that pain so that you know, oh, okay, this is just the normal aging process. And we make sure that it's not a cancerous tumor or it's not something that could potentially need surgery. All right, I will tell you, it has really been a pleasure getting to know Jeremy. He's new on our team. Jeremy and I are very passionate about what we do. We get excited when we talk about making excellence our goal and producing high-quality products for you as our patients. So when we look at this list, you know, let's look at them and see why you would want to choose Coosa Valley Medical Center for your diagnostic imaging. This is the list that we put together because we feel it exudes excellence. One is ACR accredited, American College of Radiology. This is a very rigorous accreditation that occurs triennially, and it involves submitting patient images as well as patient safety criteria. So in both areas, we are ACR accredited. Joint Commission accredited, that's another 3-year survey. We just completed ours, I believe, 2 months ago, and I will tell you, we finished at the top of the leaderboard when we compare with other organizations across the country. I will also share with you, we were nominated as leading best practice for MRI safety as well as Code Blue emergency training in the MRI department, so we've got our fingers crossed that we're going to make that one. Real important, the registered technologists, folks, those are the people who perform the test. And these people need to have proper registrations and certificates. So they need to have a 2 to 4 year education, and they need to have that ARRT registration and even specific modality registration. So that's something else that we provide that we're proud of. Board certified radiologist. I hope that in other hospitals and other entities that there's no radiologist practicing without being board certified. However, that is very important, and one that we're very proud of as well is that our radiologists are board certified. These guys even have subspecialties in neuroradiology, musculoskeletal radiology, and pediatric radiology. Advanced equipment. Our industry continually changes. And it is important that we stay on top of our A game when it comes to high technology. And as you heard Jeremy, we've got some extremely wonderful equipment that produces the kind of results that we want to produce so that we can give you the answers that you need to restore your quality of life. Personalized medicine, folks, you're not a number, you're a name to us. And a lot of you sitting in this audience I've seen before. And you know, I tell folks, if you come one time, we're glad to see you. If you come a second time, you're considered family. So we appreciate the fact that we can pay attention to you on the personal level. It's convenient. There's no traffic, and there's no parking decks, and no money to park. So that's a plus when it comes to that. Flexible scheduling. You know what? We try to meet you at your point of need. If we're trying to get an appointment scheduled for you, we're going to work extra hard that you get the day and the time that you need. If it's an emergency, if it's stat, we're going to do our best to get you in same day right away. So flexible scheduling. And this is another thing that we wanted to make sure you understood and that we're proud of too. You know, you may have a doctor that you've been seeing for many, many years and you really don't want to switch. Maybe they're not in this location. But guess what? You can request your MRI or any other diagnostic imaging test to be done here at Coosa Valley Medical Center. Okay? What we want you to know is that you have a choice. Okay, so you just kind of have to let that physician know, I would like to have it at Coosa Valley Medical Center. All we need is a signed order with the diagnosis and type of exam, and we can get you scheduled right away.